Hello Twin Flame friends, this is Charlotte, welcome back to my channel, Happy Twins 1111. We had an amazing live stream last night, didn't we guys? It was brilliant. For those of you that didn't make it, I was demonstrating the Twin Flame connection check service that I offer, which is something I do mediumistically. It was really, really lovely and I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Thank you for those of you that tuned in. It was really nice to be able to connect with you that way and for you all to see what I look like, to get a good look at my ugly mug. So for those of you that aren't familiar with what my Twin Flame connection check is, it's basically some work I do to connect your etheric field mediumistically so that I can look at whether or not you're dealing with a real twin or not. I can put protection back in place and get a feel for where you're at in your journey. It's not a full spiritual release clearing. It's just kind of a mini one. But it's very useful and I am offering that service at an introductory rate at the moment for $20. You can find the information in the description box below. If you want to understand more about how it works, drop me an email. I'll send you a link to the live stream so that you can have a look at what comes up and how it works. I'd be very happy to share that with you. I've not made it public because I don't normally show my face on my videos, as you know, and so I've just kept it as a private web link, but you're more than welcome to see it if you drop me an email. I'll send it over. So I'm going on vacation next week. I've got a full 12-hour healing day tomorrow, self-healing, which I'm very excited about. So I'm going to try and get another video out after this one this weekend. And then next week I'll probably be a little bit more quiet. If I do get a chance to post a reading, I will. It's spring break here and I'm away with the kids. So whether or not I'll get the peace and quiet or a stable internet connection to be able to upload videos, I'm still uncertain. Therefore, I won't be doing all reading options either. So if you want a private reading from me, the information is in the description box below. I might be able to do some live readings if the internet connection is stable enough, but probably for the vast majority it will be mini readings, but I can still take bookings for the week after when I return. So if you are interested in a reading, I might be able to squeeze a few more in this weekend. Do get in touch and check my availability. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be away again. But thereafter, I should be around and a bit more consistent in posting readings. It's just been mad here recently. Okay, so we're going to do a reading today to look at where the karmic partners are at and what's going on in your twin flame connection. Reference the karmic, because we've not done that for a couple of weeks and I thought it'd be useful to have a look. As usual, if you'd like the information about what decks I'm using, the crystals on top and the timestamps for each pile, that information is in the description box below. So let's begin pile one. So let's see what's happening in your twins' karmic connection, how they're feeling about the karmic and what's likely to happen moving forward, and what you can do as well to move forward and improve things in this connection. This particular pile, I don't work with reversals in this deck. So if they come out reversed, I will turn them over. So let's have a look-see. Wow. Just make a bit more room. Okay, so this is really, really powerful. This twin, I feel, has moved on or is about to leave the karmic because they even though technically speaking they don't have a commitment to you, they're not feeling what's the word? They're not feeling fair, that they feel deceptive and disloyal in continuing with this arrangement. They feel there's a lot of guilt, and it's forced them to put their barriers up. There's a lot of resentment for the karmic, and there's a lot of regret and disappointment and heartache for the twin, for the divine feminine. This is why I've chosen these two clarifiers, because we've got the Empress here and the Queen of Wands, which for me are both strongly representative of the divine feminine. And I feel like this guy's been very clever and very cunning into how he's extricating himself from this situation. He's having to think on his feet, because I feel like it's quite a complicated situation, and it's not easy for him to leave, but he's very much focused on his own healing as well, which is really powerful. I feel like this gentleman really has made quite a lot of progress, and he now feels equipped to move forward. He's developed a bit more confidence and self-esteem to finally recognize the attachment, the unhealthy attachment, the toxicity in this karmic connection. He probably still isn't communicating with you, and I'm being shown he's feeling a bit defensive still, because he's not quite dealt with this, and he's aware that he needs to see this process through and come to you with a real offer, not come to you with, oh, I'm trying to sort it out and it'll be okay soon, but a real offer. So I do see him extricating himself from this right now and going forward with a lot of gusto. Oh, and he's brave. He's really brave, because he does, even though he's identified that this connection is toxic and it doesn't serve him, there is a lot of toxicity here. There's a lot of awareness now that even though, I feel like this guy's probably been in this relationship for a long time. He's probably married, and there's probably children involved as well. And even though he does have feelings and strong emotions for his karmic, he still identifies those feelings as being love, but he is aware it's not a healthy love, and he is aware he needs to move away. And he's gathering the strength to do that. But this is a man with a lot of integrity and a very big heart. There's a lot of guilt and shame as to how he's treated you, and there's a lot of guilt and shame as to how this is going to affect his family. So in terms of how this will move forward, you're going to have to be patient, because he's surrendering to this knowing that he needs to move towards you, but he also needs time to regroup. We've got 2 nines here, that very independent energy of feeling that he needs to rebalance himself emotionally and ground himself in this new present of being independent, of being on his own, and to really connect with his own heart space and kind of get himself in a good place. So, in the future, there is a little bit of indecision about how to move towards you. He doesn't want to make a mess of that. He wants to make sure that he's achieved this kind of rebalancing of emotions and practical affairs. He wants to come towards you with no drama, just being whole and happy and being able to say, okay, let's do this. Because I feel like he's let you down a lot in the past, and he may have promised you that he's going to leave this woman a number of times, and he hasn't. And he knows that he can't promise something again if he's not going to deliver. So even though he's working out a plan to be able to move away from that connection, you need to give him the time and space to do that and to figure it out, because this isn't easy for him. As I said, there is love there for the karmic. They've built a life together. They've built a family together. I feel like he may have been with her for a very, very long time. And, it's very painful to leave someone even when you know it's not right. I think most of us can relate to the idea that we generally leave a relationship because it doesn't feel good anymore, not because we don't love the person. You know, there are circumstances where things, of course, turn sour and all love is lost, but that's not the case here. There is love there. He just knows he's not happy and that situation is toxic and it's not going to repair itself. He knows that he deserves and wants more, and he wants that for his karmic as well. But he does know he's got to move forward, and he's putting the wheels in motion now to make that happen. And he will surrender to that knowing. But post this kind of period of him rebalancing, regrounding, getting himself back in order, that there will be a brief kind of lull in activity while he just gets his head together. I see a lot of inner conflict over how to move forward, how to come forward with you know, a real offer. And there is a fear here that it won't be reciprocated by you, because he knows he's messed you about so many times before, you know, which is why he's going to be very considered in his approach. And that there is a real feeling for him that time is running out, that you're going to move on. You know, that's on his mind. Right, so what can you do? Okay, so you've got some healing to do, which is related to your early childhood and I'd say early adulthood. So this is kind of childhood and then late teens or early 20s. And this is important healing work. It relates to the stability of your esteem, your self-worth and your self-love. And you need to be very focused and driven in your approach to that now, because, you know, I'm guided to tell you that if you're not, you're almost prolonging this separation. When you heal and love self, this heals the connection. It strengthens and reinforces the connection and kind of helps union move forward a lot more quickly. And you need to, I feel like you have done a lot of work, but I described it to someone in a reading today, which I thought was a great analogy. When we when we approach our self-healing, we start digging into our past to uncover all the pain and suffering that we need to purge and transmute. It's not a final process. You know, it's a bit like being an archaeologist where you dig a hole and you keep digging and you'll keep pulling things out. There's no end or beginning to this cycle of healing. It's constant. And if you're in a place where you feel like, oh no, I've done all the healing, you're really kidding yourself, because the healing doesn't have a beginning or end. It's constant, you know. For those of us as well that are older, that are in our 30s or 40s or older still, you know, you're undoing decades worth of programming in this healing process. It's not going to happen overnight or in a few weeks. You may make dramatic progress in a short space of time. But one thing I was shown, and in particular very recently, is that it's an ongoing process with no beginning or no end. And you're really being called to go back to childhood, to go back to early adulthood and dig a bit deeper, and to be very focused and driven and goal-oriented in doing that. And this will unleash even more self-love, more unconditional love, which will reinforce the connection. Let's get some of these from this oracle as well. That's how you can move forward. Spirits to guide you. That's a beautiful card. Wow. So this really kind of resonates with what I've just explained. You know, connect with spirit to guide you. That's where you're going to get the support and the guidance you need. It's by going within. That's how you unlock the door to a happier, brighter future. The green card is very much about being grounded and getting outdoors and reconnecting with nature. Arthur's just jumped in and said shamanism. So if you've chosen this pile, there may be a call for you to investigate this kind of thread of spirituality, you know, the shamanistic view of earth being sacred and connecting to your spirituality through earth. That's very powerful. and make believe. You know, remember that you need to visualize what you want to achieve. You need to visualize yourself having already achieved it. Make time for that meditation and daydream. You know, make time to remind yourself what you're heading towards. And with the volcano, you know, for me, this is a huge purge. You know, I feel like you're going to have a really powerful response to this next cycle of healing that you're going to go through. And, you know, suffering is beautiful. When you confront your pain, you're able to release the lessons from it and transmute it into joy. It's a very worthwhile thing to do. And here, you know, there's the kind of this fetus shape being shown to explode from the volcano. It's really releasing that inner child pain. So that's really beautiful. I really hope that helps pile 1. Do comment down below. And let's have a look. Pile 2. Okay, it's a hard truth alert, okay? If you don't like my hard truths, just skip this reading. So this guy is, he's still not seeing the truth. He's not seeing the truth. He knows this isn't right, he knows it's wrong, but he has no plans to move away from this relationship. And even though he's contained and not actually offering much to the relationship, he's determined to stay and make it work. In his view, there's too much at stake. They've got family, they've got a home, and he's not seeing the truth of this situation yet. He knows he doesn't feel grounded or happy or loved, but he's almost convinced himself that that's secondary to the stability of the family. And he's not seeing the truth. You know, he's not looking to move away from this situation anytime soon. Really sorry, I know that's hard news, but we've got to be honest. And he's very, very conflicted. I feel like certainly the physical relationship between these two is dead, and there's a lot of harsh, toxic conflict, you know, really cutting words. But bizarrely, you know, I feel like this guy is almost addicted to the drama. He probably grew up in a very toxic environment with parents that stuck together through thick and thin, but still argued like cats and dogs, you know, really dramatic, intense rows, very abusive, cutting words and behaviour, really deeply wounding behaviour. But this is how he experiences love, because that's what he was shown and taught. And he's not identified with, you know, his need to remove himself from that. This is normal to him. It might not be healthy or normal to most of us, but this is how he was raised. And this is how he's, you know, this is what feels comfortable and normal for him. This is what he thinks is love. And he's not ready for a personal transformation. He's rejecting this connection from the perspective of spirit as well. You know, spirit is calling to him, it's trying to reach him. I feel like he's doing a very good job of blocking it out. So if you've picked this pile, you know, your twin is probably very much out of communication, in separation, and not really engaging with you. So, you know, this isn't nice news to receive, but so that's my dog attacking the other dog. Right, let's see what's going to happen moving forward. So he's not going to make a decision anytime soon. He's very anchored in his present and anchored in hope. That he can, I mean, this card, you know, we've got this rainbow with this boat anchored here. Rainbow's a representative of hope. And then we've got this castle in the sky. You know, this is a case of him surrendering in one respect to the connection, because he will begin to think about it. He'll begin to consider it again. He's going to open his heart to thinking about it and, you know, reconnecting on a spiritual level. But he's still going to be stuck, anchored in this desire to maintain this family that he's got. The wheel isn't ready to turn, and I'm being shown that a lot of this is down to divine timing. He's going to have a dark night of the soul. So once he opens himself to spirit, he opens himself to the possibility of moving forward with you. He's gonna experience the dark night of the soul, and that's going to happen before he can return to you. It's going to be painful. Now, Arthur's jumping in now and saying to me, you need to use this time to heal self. I've not even drawn the cards for how you need to move forward yet. But he's saying, because the healing you do for self right now is going to dramatically help him. And when he moves into this dark night of the soul, it's very important that you're in a better place, or you're going to be energetically impacted by his pain rather than in a position to support and guide him in the 5D through that process. So this guy's got a really rough time coming, and I know it's very hard for you to acknowledge these truths, but you have to understand that he's got to do this in his own time, and it serves him. He's got to learn at his own pace, and ultimately, you don't need to worry, about will he always stay with this woman. Union is inevitable. That's why you're in a twin flame connection. It's just as inevitable as death. It's not a question of will it happen, it's a question of when will it happen. And whilst these things can take some time, you need to keep the faith and do healing on yourself. Yes. Wow. So in terms of what you need to do for self, you need to stop getting all up in your head about this. Release fear, release inner conflict, release doubt, release disappointment and regret. You need to step into your own abundance. We've got the 9 of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles here. And, this is really about focusing on you, giving yourself that love and healing, focusing on your practical life as well. I feel like this whole journey has been very distracting in your career and work focus. And you need to get creative and, begin moving forward. I'm also guided to say that you need some protection, and that's part of your grounding. So if you don't know how to do that, drop me an email. I'll send you the grounding and protection meditation. That's very, very important for you at the moment. It's really interesting, the position that these cards have come up in. So in terms of what else you need to do to move forward, you need to understand the messenger is spirit. You mustn't reach out to this guy in 3D yet. It's only going to make him run further. The key to communication, you see this here, the messenger. The key to communication is 5D, it's spirit. And this is how you need to be connecting with this guy. There's also a beautiful reminder here. This is card number 19 and number 4 and 6, which is both, add up to 10, the number of completion. This one says everything will be okay, and it's come up over this row. He's got that 5 of Swords energy. You've got this 5 of Cups energy. And then just peeking out above it, we can still see that castle in the sky. And this reminder that you can release that inner regrets, disappointment, and feelings of longing and suffering, because it's going to be okay. That's the truth you need to connect with. Beneath above the 9 of Pentacles here, you've got the card service. And I was saying to you about doing some work, investing in the creative process of that, and really focusing on your 3D physical life and grounding yourself that. And you're being called to acts of service in your line of work. So, that's supporting others, and that might not be a full-time job for you. It could be, contributing somehow in a voluntary capacity, or, just looking around you to see who needs your help and support. When he goes through this dark night of the soul, if you're not grounded and protected, you're going to struggle. This card is restlessness. This is also a number 9. Which, we've got the 9 of Swords, that card of the dark night, the struggle and the pain. And you don't want to be affected by that. And this has come up over this card, which guided me to say you need to ground and protect. So that's very, very important, because, you know, twins are very vulnerable to one another's energy. And when he goes through that, if you're not in a strong place, it's going to affect you. So that's really beautiful that that come out even before I drew the cards from Arthur. So I hope that helps, pile 2. You can do this. Stay strong. Stay faithful to the journey. Remember, it serves you. It's all worth it in the end. Let's see what we've got for pile 3. I love this deck for twin flames because there's so many mirror images in it. This is the Lumina Tarot. It's very pretty. Oh. So this guy's, he's swallowed the truth whole. You know, he knows now that he needs to remove himself from this connection. He knows, but the timing isn't right. And he doesn't know how to remove himself yet. And it's divine timing that isn't right. You know, that's what he's intuitively picking up on. But he's not offering anything of substance to this connection, this karmic connection anymore. He's really withdrawn from it emotionally already, and he is firmly in the know about what needs to happen. He just hasn't figured out how that needs to happen yet. He's not yet reached that understanding inside of himself as to how to move forward. I mean, there's a lot of indecision here, and there's a lot of battles. And these are spiritual as well as emotional battles, because on the one hand, you know, he's torn between, you know, he has doubts. He has a lot of serious doubts. And the constant bickering. I feel there's a lot of mind games in this karmic connection for him as well. A lot of really horrible, spiteful mind games and clashing of heads, and that this person is very emotionally manipulative. You know, she's very, very emotionally manipulative. She really knows how to make him feel guilty. I feel like this gentleman could be a water sign. He could be a Pisces, a Cancerian, or a Scorpio, who are very sensitive to other people's emotions and very empathic, and so they can, you know, be more easily emotionally manipulated. I think we're dealing with Pisces, Cancer energies between this twin and his karmic. And he's very much being manipulated right now. He does normally surrender to that. He can't stand the guilt. He's so frightened of leaving this person because he can't stand the guilt. I feel like this is the kind of woman that will really lay on a fat guilt trip. And, you know, that's where he feels at the moment. He feels stuck and just doesn't know how to move away from this connection. So he's not going to move away from it anytime soon. As I said, you know, there is an element of divine timing at work here, because he really needs to figure out this dependency he has himself. When we don't value or love ourselves, and remember the twin flame journey is about learning self-love, we put ourselves in situations that don't serve us. And until he figures this out, until he's prepared to put himself first and to not respond to this toxic, codependent, manipulative situation, he's not going to be able to move away. And, you know, he's not grounded enough to do that. But that truth from this ace, you know, is moving towards this King of Swords energy. And his barriers will go up, and he will be preparing himself for that. But it's going to be a painful truth for him. You know, it's not going to be an easy thing to acknowledge. because he's a very loving man. And, you know, that guilt will eat away at him. That's what he needs to transmute and move across. But he will begin to put barriers up to protect himself from that. And he's not, this isn't the kind of guy that will entertain a relationship with you while he's still in one. You know, he's quite a loyal person. So you're going to have to be a bit patient with him. You're going to have to allow divine time. You're going to have to allow him to learn these lessons. So what you need to do. So again, you know, right now, you need to understand as well that a love triangle doesn't serve you. And that, you know, that's not what you want out of this situation. And you're really avoiding the healing. You know, you need to invest in it now. And I feel like the feeling I'm being shown is very heavy. So Arthur's explaining this. You feel damned if you do and damned if you don't. You're kind of thinking, if I have to go through all that healing, it's going to be painful. You know, a lot of people expect therapy, healing, digging into old wounds to be painful, but it's painful where you are as well. And that's this feeling of just inner conflict of, I just don't know what to do, because either option doesn't seem particularly attractive. You know, you need to get grounded. You really need to invest in your healing, to invest and begin that cycle of learning, and trust that suffering isn't painful. I know that sounds like a tremendous contradiction, but actually when we confront suffering, when we embrace it, it's transmuted into joy, because you release the lessons. And that emotional pain we feel is still a beautiful release. You know, if you don't squash it down again and just wallow in it, instead analyze it, dig deep into it and figure it out so that you can transmute it. And that's what you're being called to do. Stop avoiding that, invest in self and get grounded. Yeah, these have come up over each other. The sword, the truth, okay? He's realised the truth. You need to realise the truth of this journey as well. What is hidden will be revealed. Suppression of star beings by hands unworthy. Wow. And make-believe. This is very powerful. So, you know, the truth is out. He knows the truth, but you're not connecting with the real truth. You're so focused on union that you're not seeing that you have to do this work for union to happen. Union shouldn't be your goal right now. The goal should be union with self. And when you connect to spirit, that will unlock this knowing. That's what this card means. It's 5 and 4, which is 9. It's a very independent energy. What is hidden will be revealed. And we see this all-seeing eye, this hand surrounded by stars, and there's these keys, 2 of them, I want to add, that unlocks this knowing, you know, hands of power. Hands come up here as well. In fact, they're in all of these cards. Suppression of a star being by hands unworthy. I'm really guided to say you need to ground and protect. I do feel like if you've picked this pile, you are spiritually compromised. You've been in such a negative place, as has he, surrounded by so many negative energies that you need to clear. You need to clear the energy between you. And, you know, you do that in meditation. We've got this make-believe, but when you go into meditation and you go into theta state and you connect with that 5D, you know, that's when you can really begin to make progress. That's where your peace and solace is. So get grounded, get protected, do a clearing. I did talk about that at the end of the video. Actually, if there's anyone watching this that had a clearing in that live stream, please comment down below so you can share your experience. It's really helpful to the people that are you know, wondering if they might need to do that for themselves, especially the feedback for what results you've experienced after. So let's have a look at pile 4. What's happening with this karmic? Ooh, she's pregnant. You probably know this already. There's a child there. There's a pregnancy. He's devastated about this. He's really... This guy's so stuck. He's so stuck. So this woman's gone and got herself pregnant, probably on purpose. Arthur's saying this was no accident. And I feel like this guy hasn't taken this news well. There's been a lot of very immature, cutting conflicts between him and this karmic woman. And he feels stuck there as a provider. He feels like his values are really being tested. You know, I'm seeing that this is literally a living nightmare for him. There's very little trust between them. You know, underneath this Sun and Empress card, which for me is what this pregnancy is, we've got the Six of Wands reversed, which is, you know, that feeling of, well, it's the opposite of victory. It's the feeling of being caught out and cheated and just not wanting this, not celebrating this at all. And with that Two of Swords reversed, just absolutely thrown into inner turmoil and conflict. And then we've got this Six of Pentacles, you know, that he feels he's been tricked and conned, and he's looking at 18 years of maintenance payments or staying with this woman for 18 years. This is really quite sad. So there's a pregnancy here, definitely. And he's seeing, it's really unfortunate because I feel like this guy was on the cusp of moving forward and away from this woman, and he's now trapped. He can't do that now. That's how he feels. It's kind of thrown everything he thought he wanted into disarray. He's very angry. Wow. He won't stay with her. I don't normally like to predict things like this. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen such a clear but unpleasant message. If I was speaking to your twin right now, I wouldn't share this information. I feel like as readers, we have a responsibility, an ethical responsibility, not to share something that could be potentially traumatic or upsetting. But I don't think this pregnancy will continue. I don't think it will continue. Under this row, we've got death. We've got an ending. And my gut feeling is she will miscarry, or the pregnancy will not go to term. You know, this isn't their karma. The baby wasn't supposed to be. This baby wasn't supposed to be. Post this, they will stay together for a while. You know, he will come in as the lion, the protector, you know, the healer, to support her through this loss. But it will culminate in an ending between them. We've got the Ten of Swords followed by the Nine of Pentacles of him moving away. So you're going to have to be very patient, and you know, you mustn't discuss this with him. He doesn't need to know about that premonition. I feel very, very, very strongly about that. I don't normally share things like this, you know, potentially upsetting information. But that pregnancy won't continue. See what you need to do to move forward. Okay. Right, so you also, you need to get fully engaged with this journey. So you're one of these people that you're one of these divine feminines that is resistant to the healing work, that thinks you're somehow going to get to union while still being in pain. If you're in pain, if you're suffering right now, the best thing you can do for yourself is address that. That's the best thing you can do for your twin, for your union. If you want union to happen, that's what you need to do. And you know, you need to stick with this. I feel like if you don't already know this pregnancy information, it's going to throw you into a dark place, because you're going to be so panicked. You're going to feel very left out in the cold, especially when he stays behind to comfort her post this pregnancy ending. It's going to make you feel really rejected, like, well, you know, the pregnancy's over and he's still with her. But you need to respect his personal values, that he wants to be there for her, and that's his choice. And that if you were in a healthy place, if you were in a place of unconditional self-love, you wouldn't resent him that. You wouldn't be pained by it. You would respect him for it. So, but you need to keep choosing this journey, and you need to keep the faith. You are someone that gets really angry, upset, and just, I'm getting feelings of overwhelming brokenness when you get bad news regards this connection. And that is your call to go within and heal, because you will keep having that cycle of suffering if you don't do the healing. And you're another one that needs to protect. I feel like this karmic is actually, this card again that's come up on this pregnancy row, ungrateful daughter and earthly mother. That's a very potent card to come up on this karmic row. And we've got this 7 of Cups here. This is also a number 7, you know, about choosing this. This is also a 7. You need to heal, but you need to ground and protect as well. This card is saying cast your sacred symbols. You know, this is symbols of protection. We've also got suppression of a star being by hands unworthy. There is a lot of negative energy interference in this connection. And this will be impacting your mood and how you feel about self. So you definitely need to ground, protect and clear. You need to find a healer outside of self to help you begin that process. Because I'm feeling like there's a lot of dark interference in your connection. This one came up for one of the other piles as well. But for me, this ungrateful daughter and earthly mother to come up here is just overwhelming. And I'm seeing a wave of just a wave of resentment surrounding that situation. It wasn't an accident. I hope that helps. I'm really worried about you, pile 4. I think if you chose this pile, just drop me an email actually. You need some help. You need some support. So I hope that helped, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, for those of you that did tune into the live stream last night, if I did a reading for you, please comment down below so that and share your experience. That's really helpful for the viewers that missed it. And I'll do another one of those soon. But thank you so much for tuning in. Speak soon.